Good afternoon, this is Granny Fisher, and today I'm going to talk to you about 5 things that you can do right now to prepare for the next Great Depression. A lot of people have a sense of impending doom right now with the election coming up and a lot of the civil unrest, and the economy's not doing that well. The stock market's doing great, but that doesn't mean that Main Street is doing great. A lot of the small businesses have closed down. Yelp released some figures showing that 60% of the businesses that had closed due to pandemic lockdowns were not going to reopen. So a lot of people are out of work. People who are working, a lot of them are working at lower paid jobs than what they had before. And it doesn't appear to be getting much better toward the end of this year. So there are 5 things that you can do right now, 5 actions you can take right now to improve your chances and the chance of your family getting through the rest of this year without too many severe problems. Now, the first thing is to look at your investments. If you have investments in the stock market, that's not real stable right now. I looked at some graphs of the stock market activity preceding the Great Depression and during the Great Depression, and stock market activity this year, and they're almost identical. The degree to which the stock market has fallen and the level to which it has climbed back up is a little different because we have the Fed intervening in the stock market, trying to keep it propped up. So it's a little different this time around. And that brings up the question of, will this Great Depression be like the last one? And in a lot of ways it won't be. But be that as it may, the activity in the stock market this year has amazingly paralleled the activity in the stock market in 1929 when the Great Depression began. So I wouldn't trust your money in the stock market. If you want to, if you think you can make some more money, go for it, But I have no interest in the stock market. I know nothing about it, and I am not a financial advisor. But if it were me, if I had money in the stock market, I would take out a significant amount and invest it in things that will still be here if the economy collapses, things that will still have value. A lot of people buy silver and gold. That's probably good. I don't have the kind of money it would take to invest in even one gold coin. But I do have other kinds of stock. I have animals that produce milk, which I can make into yogurt or cheese. I have animals that produce eggs. I have animals that I can butcher for meat. I have room to plant a garden. I had a garden this year. And like I've said before, I'm not a really good gardener. I'm better with animals than I am with plants. But we ate out of our yard all summer. We ate fresh eggs, we ate goat cheese, we had goat milk all summer long. We ate vegetables from our garden. We harvested 150 pounds of potatoes from our garden, which was really good for us. We're not real good gardeners. But this year we got a lot of potatoes, and I've got those in the pantry now, and I'm probably going to either can some or put some through the dehydrator to make sure they stay good. But right now they're good. So I've invested in things like that. If we get another stimulus check, my husband wants to add to the shelter that we have for our livestock. I'd like to stock up on some more hay and feed and groceries to put in the pantry, things like that. So those are the things I'm investing in. If you have the money to invest, you might want to buy some land. Land will always be there. I knew a friend some years ago that used to say they're not making any more of it. So land always has value, especially if it would be good farmland. Somebody can farm it, and if it gets really bad, you could farm it. So look at your investments, look where your money is, and put it in places that will benefit you even if the economy collapses. You might want to pay off your mortgage if you want to make sure your house is secure. If you have some land that you can possibly farm on or garden on, you might want to get that paid off. So if you had to leave your home, you could set up housekeeping on that land and grow your food. So your investments are the first thing you need to look at right now to prepare for what's coming in the next few months. The second thing you want to look at is your food supplies. Now, a little over a year ago, there was a kind of a crisis in which people with food stamps were told that they might not get some food stamps the next month. And so at the time, I was maintaining an online news source for my community. And so I took a notebook and I went to Save-A-Lot, which is the cheapest grocery store in our town. And I went through the store and I gave myself $100 allotment, and I looked to see if I could purchase enough food to get a family of 4 through a month for with no other purchases for $100. And I posted that list online, and I think a lot of people took it to heart and went out and bought some groceries. And as it turned out, the food stamps were not out of reach, for very long. They restored them pretty quick. But I went today to the same store, took my notebook, and realized that it would take me more money to buy the same list this time around. And just looking at the bare essentials, the things that you have to have. You want to get a can of salt. You can stock up on foods that you don't normally eat but would eat in a pinch. If you didn't have anything else, you would eat beans and rice. And our families survived on it before. So I made up a list, and I priced that list going through the grocery store, and I wrote that down. And if you look in the description below, I've got a list of what I would have purchased, but it would have taken $150 this time instead of $100. So look at the list and see what you can get. I did make an allowance of $7 for comfort food, and in my case it would probably be a can of coffee. If you want tea, if you want sugar, if you want something to make snacks with, or if you have a craving for ramen noodles, you could stock up on ramen noodles. I wouldn't advise it because they're not very nutritious, but that's just me. But anyway, the idea is to take a certain amount of money when you get paid, whatever time that is, whether it's a government check or food stamps or a paycheck or whatever it is. If you're on Social Security when your check comes in, take a certain amount and buy your emergency rations. And these are the things that you can survive on if there's nothing else to eat, okay? And you need to have that put back. If you have nothing else put back, you need enough put back to get you through a month of no other food coming in. Now, most preppers would say, a month is not enough. But I'm just saying this is a starting point. You need to do this right now. As soon as you have the money in your hand, you need to go to the store, go to whatever cheap store you've got. If you've got a little Benton Dent grocery store, and get $150, $100, $150, $50 if that's all you've got. Go get those emergency rations and put them back. They need to be things that won't go bad. I've got dried beans, I've got rice, I've got canned vegetables, canned fruit, canned fish, cheese. You can, at Save-A-Lot, my Save-A-Lot, they have those big 5-pound blocks of cheese for $14.99. I rounded off all the prices, and you need to allow yourself enough to cover your sales tax as well. But stock up on your food. That's number 2. Number 3, you need to make sure your water supply is secure. You need water. And if nothing else, you could get one of those big 5-gallon bottles at Walmart or one of the big grocery stores, one of the big box stores, and fill it up, and then get another one and fill it up, and just put them back. But if you have a well, make sure you've got a way to access the water if the power goes off. And this might not be something huge like an EMP or a national collapse or something. With the kind of riots that have been going on, somebody might take it into their head to shoot out the transformers at your local power station or something like that. That we just live in uncertain times. So make sure you've got water. And if you have a well, make sure you have some way to access that water if your pump is not working. And make sure that that essential resource is available to you and your family. So that's number 3, is the water. Number 4, get your prescriptions filled. Talk to your doctor. If you're on any kind of medication, or anyone in your family's on any kind of medication, talk to your doctor about an extended prescription and get it done now. Call him up and say, you know, we live in uncertain times. I'm concerned about the supply lines being interrupted, the supply chain being interrupted because of riots or the election, or, you know, if you live out west, say the wildfires are everywhere. Can I make sure I've got my prescriptions filled? If you're along the Gulf Coast, there are more hurricanes coming, so you can use that as an excuse. But talk to your doctor and make sure, if you're on prescription medications, he or she gives you extra of your prescriptions, and get them filled. You need that on hand, and put them in a good place where they'll be just where the potency will not decline due to heat or humidity. If they need to be refrigerated like insulin, then refrigerate them. Otherwise, keep them in a cool, dark place and have that on hand if you need it. If you can't go to the pharmacy and get your prescriptions filled, you need to have extra on hand. Okay, so that's the first 4 things. And the 5th thing is plant something. Plant something. If you go to Tractor Supply or Walmart, they probably still have seeds. And it may not be something you've grown before. It may not be something you particularly care for, but you would eat in a pinch, just like the beans and rice. Get something that'll grow in the cool weather. Something like lettuce or kale or spinach or turnip greens. Carrots even will grow into the fall. Get something that will grow in the cool weather, or something you can take inside. Just recently I planted some lettuce seeds in a little clay pot. I had planted them in my garden and they did not grow, didn't even sprout. And it was because I mistakenly watered them with city water during a dry spell. I planted the seeds, I watered them, I said, well, this is just enough to get them started. But they never sprouted. I took the same packet of seeds and took a few out of what remained and put in a clay pot. And I went down to the creek and brought a 5-gallon bucket of water up from the creek and watered them with that. And in less than a week, I have little lettuce plants coming up in that pot. So I'm going to have some lettuce. I'm going to plant some carrots just like that. I'll plant another batch of lettuce too. If you plant it in rotation, then you have a continuing supply. But plant something. So those are the 5 things you can do right now to prepare for what's coming. You can do these right now. Check your investments. Make sure you invest in things that will still be here and still have value if the economy collapses. Make sure you stock up on basic groceries. Get salt, get dried beans, get rice, get canned vegetables. You can go to Walmart, the bulk aisle. They have cheap canned vegetables, generic canned vegetables, and they even have a pop top, which is a plus. Okay, so stock up. Take $100, $150 and go buy the things you need to stock up your emergency rations. Check your water supply. Make sure you've got water. Okay, even if it's just putting gallons of water under your bed. Make sure you've got water. You can take empty Coke bottles and fill them up at your faucet. and stick them in a closet. But make sure you've got water in case the water gets cut off. And let's see, get your prescriptions filled. Get extra of your prescription medication if you're on prescription medication, and plant something. Now you've got something you can do immediately to prepare for the next Great Depression, because it could just be 2 months away. It could be 6 months away. It may be a year away. But do you want to be caught unprepared? This is Granny Fisher. I'll see you next time.